All right, can you guys hear me now? Okay, I got a pretty good delay on there. Yeah, guys, I just turned off StreamYard. I was trying. I mean, Streamlabs. I was trying. I wanted to do the fancy stuff, but I can't figure it out. So I'm gonna have to take some lessons. I thought I had it all worked out though. But anyway, what we're gonna look at today is not exactly a happy situation, but then again, nothing that we look at in this community is really a happy situation most of the time. I saw reports of this earlier about the act when it was just an active shooter situation, and apparently now the count is 16 dead, including 14 students. The 16 is including uh, the 14 students, a teacher, and the gunman. Give me just 1 second. Let me get these doors locked. I see the babies coming. Because they're gonna run in and be like, Gigi. Okay, we're gonna start with Fox News 4. And if I recall correctly, Fox News 4 is Dallas based. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, I'm not getting sound, so let me redo the share.
Watching live now from Fox. I just want to brief everyone. David, we have David Katz on the line, law enforcement expert, as we're taking you to at this time. Governor Greg Abbott says 15 people were killed in a shooting today at an elementary school. Abbott says the suspected shooter, an 18-year-old man, also died and was believed to be killed by responding officers. He says 14 children and one killed at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, 85 miles west of San Antonio. He says the shooter had a handgun and possibly a rifle. We're expecting another update from authorities here within the hour and possibly a statement from President Biden. We also have Andrew Kraft here on the line. Want to go out to him in just a moment here. But we also have full coverage coming in from Fox 26 in Houston. Bill Malugin down on the ground. Let's listen in.
We have just learned the breaking news. As you just said, Texas Governor Greg Abbott confirming 15 people have been killed in a mass shooting at an elementary school here in Uvalde. That would be Robb Elementary School. 14 children, one teacher. Law enforcement sources, as well as the governor, saying that the shooter is dead. Officers responding shot, and we're told responding officers were also shot at. Some of them were struck but do not have serious injuries. Texas Governor Greg Abbott telling the media a short time ago that the shooter is an 18-year-old male, a local from here in Uvalde, and he reportedly abandoned a vehicle, then ran into the school with a weapon and just started shooting, and again, in this mass shooting, absolutely horrific. The Uvalde Memorial Hospital, the local hospital in the area, posting on Facebook, they are currently treating multiple children in their emergency room. ATF is already here. We are waiting an imminent press conference for more details on this.
Also within the past hour, the Uvalde Independent School District Police Chief issued a brave statement.
At approximately 11:32 a.m. this morning, there was a mass casualty incident at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The school has children that are in second, third, and fourth grade. I can confirm right now that we have several injuries, adults and students, and we do have some deaths. The suspect is deceased at this point. DPS is assisting with the investigation. And at this point, the investigation is leading to tell us that the suspect did act on this heinous crime. Families are being notified, and we are providing services to them as it should. As far as the rest of the district is concerned, safety measures were taken to make sure that we had a safe release for the rest of the district throughout our city of Uvalde. And we had numerous law enforcement officers and agencies that assist for those students. We do want to keep all their families in their prayers. I hope you do as well. And we also want to respect the privacy of the family. It is still being worked on. And again, we'll notify the parents and the families as soon as we have some news for them.
Just can't imagine what those parents are going through. Right now, they're waiting. If you go to the Robb Elementary School page, it gives an alert saying that parents don't pick up your students at this time. They need to be accounted for, and they will be reunited to you at the time when they are available. Now, you want to stay with Fox 26 for continuing coverage of this Uvalde school shooting. Again, we do have a crew en route, and we'll have live updates. We also will have updates on our website, fox26houston.com.
But right now, we do.
We also want to stick with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm Daytona Everett here with Andrew Kraft. We also have David Katz, a law enforcement expert, on here out to a live look where parents are being reunified with their children here. David, do you still have us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we want to get into a little bit of the reaction coming in from
I
lawmakers
can't
here
imagine
too,
being
which
one of
takes us
those
back
parents who
to our
goes
conversation.
and can't be reunified, finding out that it's
When is
your
enough
child is one of
enough
the children
here?
who died.
When you heard, taking a brief step back, when you heard about this, were you surprised at all at the level of this killing? 14 kids, one teacher dead. It feels though like we get headlines like this all too often.
Yeah, you know, that's the thought that goes in my single time. Like the shooting a couple weeks back at the supermarket. I mean, that you know, for anyone to say, well, we could have prevented that. I mean, you can't prevent ever of violence, especially when you have a determined psychopathic individual with access to firepower. So that being said, you would think that by now, every school in this country would understand that we have a potential threat. Is the risk high based on percentages? No, it's minuscule, but that needs not factor into our decision. Every single school needs to be protected, needs to be secured, and that's the first thought that goes into my head: is what are the school administrators thinking? What are the teachers thinking? What are the people in the community?
The school administrator, what are the people thinking who are shooting up elementary school? I mean, he's 18, so he's high school age. Why is he shooting up an elementary school? I mean, why is he shooting up any school at all? But at least if it was a high school, then there might be some logical reason. He was bullied, or kids are picking on him, or he's had a problem with the teacher. But what in the world? There's no way that you can even stretch your imagination to say, oh, well, the elementary school kids did something to him in any way. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you go shoot up an elementary school of all places? I never understand that.
You've heard of this dads on duty thing. There, you will have no shortage of volunteers. And again, when my partner, Alan Ponce, Diego, had a great suggestion. It's going to go nowhere. Great suggestion. It's going to go.
Oh yeah, that Dad's on Duty. I might share that if I can pull it up. They're actually doing that in my hometown where fathers are going to the schools in the daytime. They wear these shirts that say Dad's on Duty and they walk through the schools. And I believe what they're doing, I just read the blurb, but I believe what they're doing is just basically making a presence in the school, to be able to talk to these kids, possibly catch things before they happen. Um, and I believe that the article that I skimmed through was saying that they have made an impact, that schools have seen a decline in like negative behavior in the schools where the dads on duty are. But that was like a kind of an off topic. But yeah, that's what he was talking about. It's a great program.
Don't know where because it makes too much sense. In your community, you have a retired special forces operator who's looking for a job. Say, you know what? We can't afford you, but we'll pass legislation saying that you are state and federal taxes operate as armed security officer in this particular school. Guess what? You know you'll have? You'll have coverage in parts of the country where you would never expect it, and you'll have a reduction in violent actions, period, across the board. That's something that would be actionable and actually might actually do something. But of course, that'll never happen.
Yeah, of course, David. The flip side of that is Uvalde, Texas, is a rural community just outside of San Antonio. Its population is very small compared to large metropolitan centers in the state of Texas. So we're speaking with the assumption that these very small rural communities with these very small school districts could possibly get the security and beef up the security
Tammy, I was
they
thinking the
need.
same thing because I know that the
Conversation
elementary
that's
school
going to
that
be
I
on
went
as
to,
we
which is the
await
same
for the
elementary
latest press
school
conference
that
from
my
law
kids
enforcement
went
officials
to, and a lot
speaking
of my grandkids
of
went to.
remarks from elected leaders. It
Hold
has
on, I
been
got an echo
confirmed President
somewhere.
Biden will deliver remarks on the school shooting at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Of course, he is en route back from his trip to Asia for days. That will be at the White House. We're also getting more and more lawmaker reaction.
But
Members of
yeah,
the
the
House,
elementary school
members of
that
the
I went
floor,
to,
as we
same as
speak,
my kids and my
railing
grandkids.
against
Some of my
their
grandkids go to
perceived
that school
lack.
too. I mean, it's nothing like it was back in the day. Back in the day, you could pretty much walk into the school from any direction, straight off the street. And now the only way in is through the office, and those doors are locked. And I think there's like a 2 or 3 door barrier between you and actually entering the school where the students are. So, and I would think that after the whole Sandy Hook controversy, that I'm so sorry that if it wasn't already that way in the schools, then after the Sandy Hook controversy, then it seems to me like most of the schools would have, made that step in security to put more barriers and less access points. So I don't know. The audio is kind of low on here for me. I don't know if it is for you guys too. So I'm gonna stop playing this one. We're gonna skim through the article. This article is very basic. This one was actually an earlier article because it only has 14 students. Y'all gotta forgive me. I've been trying so hard to get some rest and like get some real rest, but I just can't lately. I don't know why. I keep waking up. I sleep 30 minutes an hour, wake up, and so you don't really get good rest like that. You might sleep off and on all night long, but constantly waking up like that, man, it just not working. I might have to get me some melatonin or something and see if that'll help. Anyway, it says Governor Greg Abbott confirmed that 14 students and one teacher are dead after an elementary school shooting. Abbott said authorities killed the gunman. There was a report out earlier that he was in custody. There was a report out that he was in custody, and that came from I believe the school's Facebook page. It was posted that there was an active shooter, and then subsequently posted that the shooter was in custody or a shooter was in custody, but that information was not correct. Abbott said the 18-year-old gunman identified as Salvatore Ramos entered Robb Elementary School after abandoning his vehicle with a handgun and possibly a rifle. Authorities believe Ramos acted alone. Authorities added that many of the victims were in the 2nd through 4th grades. Dear God have mercy. So that's like 9, 8, 7 years old, possibly as young as 6, which is crazy. It's absolutely terrifying because my grandbabies are like just turned 9 and about to turn 7. Tammy says, my grandson just graduated his elementary. You can only go in by the office, not because of guns, but so people can't get to the kids. Oh, they're not supposed to be, which makes a whole lot of sense. You're right, Rob, the devil incarnate. Please ignore the Streamlabs mod. I'm gonna have a chat with the Streamlabs mod and tell them to stop telling people spam, folks. I'm still working on fine tuning that as well. Trying to make the channel great. Okay, he shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher. So we know there's actually 15 students. Texans across the state are grieving for the victims of this selfless crime and for the community of Uvalde. Cecilia and I mourn this horrific loss, and we urge all Texans to come together to show our unwavering support to all who are suffering. We thank the courageous first responders who worked to finally secure Robb Elementary School. I have instructed the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Rangers to work with local law enforcement to fully investigate this crime. The Texas Division of Emergency Management is charged with providing local officials all resources necessary to respond to this tragedy as the state of Texas works to ensure the community has what it needs to heal. 13 children were taken by ambulance or bus to Uvalde Memorial Hospital after an active shooter was reported at the school in Uvalde, about 85 miles or 135 kilometers west of San Antonio. That is just a horrible, awful, senseless waste of young life. So much potential, so much possibility. It really bothers me because under no circumstances can I ever see a justification for harming and especially killing elementary school kids, man. Elementary school kids. 95% of them don't even cuss. There's no way to make that make sense. There really is just no way to make that make sense. Exactly. Why attack defenseless babies that can't do anything to protect themselves? Even without a gun, what can one of these 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds do to protect themselves against you, a grown 18-year-old man? A grown man could literally kill a kid with one punch from just a regular closed fist. So why attack these babies with a gun? Then even if he has a connection to the school, even if he has a family member that works there, even if he has an ex that works there, or some teacher that he suddenly remembered made him upset when he was an elementary school kid there is still no excuse. If your ex-girlfriend works there or your girlfriend and she pissed you off, what in the world do these 15 children and this innocent teacher have to do with that? All right, this story is older also because it still has the count at 14. I'm looking at the stories that I have pulled up on this so that we can get to something newer. This one still has the count at 14. Okay, this one has the count at 16. So this is going to be a more current.
Unfortunate news about those who were killed, those who lost their lives tragically, those who were injured. They're going to talk a little bit about the individual.
Okay, so that's the same live broadcast, but it says 16 people are dead, including 14 children, one teacher, and the suspected gunman, following a report of an active shooter at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The deceased children are said to be second, third, and fourth graders, approximately 7, 8, and 9 years old. An additional 13 children were transported to the hospital Tuesday morning. So that's 28 victims, all told. The shooter is believed to be 18-year-old Salvador Romas. He was said to have acted alone in the shooting, and his relationship to the school was not immediately disclosed. He shot and killed horrifically and incomprehensibly 14 students and killed a teacher. The gunman was a resident of the community and entered the school with a handgun and possibly a rifle and opened fire. He said the shooter was likely killed by responding officers, but the events are still being investigated. Robb Elementary School was placed under lockdown around 11:43 a.m. local time. Tuesday, that would be Central Standard Time. Tuesday morning, as law enforcement responded to an active shooter. Uvalde Memorial Hospital said they received 13 children by ambulance or buses for treatment. The hospital added that 2 children were transferred to a hospital in San Antonio and 1 child was pending transfer. The hospital added that 2 individuals were pronounced dead on arrival. The Texas Department of Public Safety and Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin told Fox News that the shooter, who ran to the school, became barricaded inside it. There is an active shooter at Robb Elementary School. Law enforcement is on site, the school posted on Facebook. Your cooperation is needed at this time by not visiting the campus. The school later posted on Facebook alerting parents that students were being transported to the Willie DeLeon Civic Center for reunification. Additionally, all district and campus activities, after school programs, and events were canceled for the remainder of the day. Governor Abbott released the following statement following the news of the school shooting. And that's the same statement that we read earlier. Hold on a second. All right, guys, sorry about that. Diaper duty. I got to take lessons from Sleuth Mom. She changes a diaper in 2.7 seconds flat. Yeah, I stepped away for a second. Okay, Tammy said, why did they tell some parents to go to the school and some to go to the center? I'm not sure. It seems that maybe some parents just went to the school since the Facebook post said not to visit the campus. Sherry. Oh no, you probably didn't hear me. I said I'll be right back. Okay. So I am not actually familiar with Uvalde at all. Got one more screen I'm going to share here, and then we're going to do some research. And this is CNN. Let's see what CNN has on it. All right, what we know so far, multiple people died after a shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, Tuesday afternoon, but the details remain unclear. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said 15 people, 14 students and one teacher, so actually 16, 15 students and one teacher, died. Meanwhile, a local hospital said 2 people were killed and dozens more were injured. The suspect is dead, officials said. Abbott said the suspect was an 18-year-old student at Uvalde High School. Uvalde is about 85 miles west of San Antonio. I do not get this. Why did he shoot up this elementary school? Okay, 1 hour ago, President Biden has been briefed on school shooting and will speak tonight. And the tweet from Karen Jean-Pierre, some United States government official, says President Biden has been briefed on the horrific news of the elementary school shooting in Texas and will continue to be briefed regularly as information becomes available. His prayers are with the families impacted by this awful event, and he will speak this evening when he arrives back at the White House. These are some horrific pictures. Oh, we got 10 updates. Let's see. Doesn't look like 10 updates. That's right where we were. Houston mayor, how many more how many more children must lose their lives from senseless gun violence? That is an excellent question. Now, what is the solution and how do we stop it? LeBron James on Texas school shooting. He says there simply has to be change, has to be. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the loved ones lost and injured at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Like, when is enough, man? There are kids, these are kids, and we keep putting them in harm's way at school. Like, seriously, at school where it's supposed to be the safest. There simply has to be change, has to be. Praying to the heavens above to all with kids these days in school. Shooter is dead and acting alone. The shooter in Tuesday's fatal elementary school shooting did not have any help, the school district top security officer said. At this point, the investigation is leading to tell us that the suspect did act alone during this heinous crime, said Pete Arredondo, the chief of police for the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District. Arredondo confirmed that the suspect is dead. He did not provide further details on casualties in the shooting. Okay, yeah, we can look up a map real quick. Let me get one pulled up. And then we'll look at the satellite too and see like where the storm is. Share. Okay, so zooming out. Okay, so here's San Antonio, and it is almost due west of San Antonio. So just zooming out a little more because to get a real good perspective. Okay, so it's almost in a direct line west from Houston to San Antonio to Uvalde, about 80 miles past San Antonio. All right. Kind of over in the middle of nowhere, really a bunch of small places that none of the names I'm seeing, I'm not familiar with any of the names I'm seeing around it. Oh, I didn't know they had a Los Angeles, Texas. Learn something new every day. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can get the weather, the radar. Oh my God. Raw, you just catching it today. Capital letters, emojis. I'm gonna go in there and tweak that Streamlabs mod later. See, this is about gun rights. Twice this week, how many more children are going to die under CPS, but not talking about laws or updates on that. That's right. Apparently, Streamlabs doesn't like all caps or emojis or any of that. Okay, so here we go. Oh, Chihuahua, Mexico. Abilene, Austin, San Antonio. So it looks like clear skies over where Uvalde is, right over in here. And storms are up like Odessa, Lubbock, Abilene, Wichita Falls. Dallas looks pretty clear. Houston looks like they just got done dealing with it. I see it's stretched across. Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of storms there. Pretty good amount of storms. All right, guys, Bubby is losing it. So I am going to get off here for a little while. I'll be back later tonight. Um, I have a list of, if you've been following me with the Bakersfield girls, I have come across a list of over 30 missing teens, mostly girls, but including some boys, um, who all pretty much fit in that kind of dynamic that we were talking about as far as age, size, height wise, different things like that. So I did come across a list of over 30. I will not be able to pull up all of them. Some of them, I found it on WebSleuth, and so some of the threads, when you get ready to open them, it'll say that you can't access it for some reason. Apparently, that thread may have been shut down or made private. But for the ones that I could find, there's still a considerable number of them, and we will take a look at that tonight at 10 o'clock. So join me for our trip back to Bakersfield, California to see what's going on with all these missing kids out there. Thanks again for joining, and I will see y'all later.